Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Solid Ground's Recipe for Change Lunch In fundraiser. My name is Vinica, and I work with Solid Ground as the Corporate Engagement Officer. But today, I'm here for you all as your host and MC of this live stream kickoff event. If you're new to Solid Ground, welcome. We are a nonprofit organization based here in Seattle that supports over 76,000 people across the state, and helping them meet their basic needs, nurture skills for success, and spread change through advocacy. And during these especially hard times, we're working really hard to help keep people fed and housed and safe. So thank you all so much for joining us today. As some of you know, we've had to shift our annual Building Community Luncheon, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year, from an in-person gathering to this virtual kickoff event and giving week. And although the format this year has changed, our fundraising goal has not. So thank you all so much for joining us and for your interest in supporting our communities at Solid Ground. This work has just never been more important. And so sit tight. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we have a pretty awesome program lined up for you all. I'm joined today by an amazing guest and our featured guest, Chef Edouardo Jordan. He's going to be coming on and sharing a little bit more about his recent work with Solid Ground and our youth residents. And he's going to cook for us live and prepare an amazing recipe that we will get to try. Maybe not you, but you can cook it at home because we'll send you home with some recipe books that we'll chat about in a bit. And at the very end, we have an exciting live drawing that's going to happen here on set. And one lucky registered guest is going to get sent home with a $200 voucher to one of Chef's amazing restaurants, June Baby. And of course, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for y'all to support at home. We have some amazing thank you gifts for donations today that we'll share more about soon. But you might see a banner at the bottom of your screen if you're tuning in from the computer or from your phone that says, text recipe to 50155 to donate. So we have this really cool text to donate system set up. So all you have to do is send a text to that number and it'll prompt you to make a donation today. If you're tuning in on your web page or on a computer, you might see a Donate Now button at the bottom of your screen. You can also click on that. So before we dive into this amazing program today, I just want to take a quick second and pause and acknowledge the land we're coming to you from today. So we're all here at the Sheraton Seattle in downtown Seattle, and that's land that was originally of the Duwamish and Coastal Salish people, land that was taken from them by foreign invaders. And at Solid Ground, as an anti-racist and anti-poverty organization, we understand that our communities of color and our Native communities are disproportionately impacted. So please join me in a moment of solidarity as we honor the experiences and journeys of our Native communities. All right, thank you. And with that, I am super excited to announce our featured guest for the day. We have had the honor and opportunity to work with Chef Edouardo Jordan this year as our keynote speaker. So if you haven't heard of Chef, he's becoming a bit of a local celebrity here in Seattle. He is a two-time James Beard Award winner. He's a chef and owner of 3 amazing restaurants here in Seattle. He's got Solare, June Baby, and Lucinda Grain Bar. And this year, he brought his expertise and his passion to our own participants here at Solid Ground. He led a series of cooking workshops with our resident youth and helped them connect to their own roots through food. And if you haven't heard of Sandpoint before, our Sandpoint housing community is a beautiful campus of public housing in Magnuson Park. It's home to about 400 residents or so who are escaping and healing from the traumas of homelessness. These are folks of all different backgrounds and experiences and are coming together to build this really beautiful community of support. And one of the ways that we help facilitate that community is by putting on programs like youth enrichment. And that's kind of the avenue that Chef was able to come and work with our participants and build community that way. So we're thrilled to have him here today to share more about his work with Solid Ground and to cook for you all. the same recipe that he got to share with our youth. Please welcome Chef Edouardo Jordan to the stage. For those folks who are worried about social distancing, as we are,
we did our
we
elbow.
legit have a 6-foot distance between us, and we're being really cautious. And we're obviously super thankful for you to come here. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and especially in your world as like a small business folk. So we're really excited to have you. And I guess could you share a little bit more with everyone watching out there? We did these really cool workshops at Sandpoint. What happened?
Yeah, well, Finica, thank you for having me. Solid Ground, thank you guys for making this all happen. We've all experienced many curveballs, but we figured out how to make this happen. This is a great cause and much needed, so please give today. But I was asked to work with the youth, and it was a no-brainer for me to do because I've always been working with the youth. I remember when I was a kid and I talked about the foods that I ate, a lot of times I was shamed by my peers. And I was always like bashful to talk about the foods that I ate. And so the first thing that came to mind when I was asked to come talk to the kids and share demos was like, let's celebrate through our food the differences, our heritage, our culture, our roots. And so we did a 3-weekend series with the youth of Sandpoint. We got them up bright and early on the weekend. On a weekend. And we shared stories. We talked about food. We talked about my restaurants, what I did, how I got to where I'm at. And I got to where I'm at through food. I was able to travel the world, be able to experience different people and foods and cuisines by the industry that I'm in, and that was because of food. And so I wanted to have that kind of conversation with the kids. I wanted to know what they liked, what they didn't like. I wanted to share some of the ingredients and foods that we did at the restaurants with no shame and understanding that like our menu isn't built for kids, but kids should appreciate it. And so we had recipes that we actually have in the restaurants, and we did it with the kids. So it was fun. A lot of fun.
And I was really lucky to participate in a couple of these workshops, and that was actually the last time we saw each other. But I mean, you had a really great way of connecting with the youth, and I think it's because you approached it first from your own storytelling, right? Like, I remember the first thing you did was like talk about exactly what you were just saying, like your upbringing around food and kind of some of the shame and experiences that you had growing up, which I think was a way that was an easy way to connect with them.
Yeah, it was a door opener, it was an icebreaker because they may have experienced the same things, and I wanted to let them know that like, don't be shameful of your food. We should be celebrating each other's food. Food is a way to get to know each other and appreciate each other a little bit more. I think some of my best friends and people that I've met over the years has been through food, sitting down, breaking bread, and just talking about it and celebrating it. So I wanted to have that same experience with the youth, and so that's what we did. It was a 3-part series. We talked about the things that they ate at home, what they cooked with their mom and dad, the things that they ate out in other restaurants, some of the dislikes. We had some students talk about various culture cuisines that they've had that they didn't enjoy. And they told us like, oh, it's too spicy. The spice levels were too much. And I said, did you give it a second chance? Did you try another? And they thought about it like, no. It's like, well, we're here today to open up that door to appreciation. It may not happen the first time, but let's open up that door for the second time and the third time. And so that's what it was all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So folks, there's going to be a video later on that is released, and we'll chat more about it, but it's a video that's capturing the entire experience that Chef had with our youth and our staff. And there's a lot of what you're saying, I think that's resonated in this awesome video. It's going to be posted on the same webpage that you're tuning in from now after the live stream event, so you can go check that out. And it's a really cool video. It captures a lot. There's interviews with some of the youth, with yourself.
Totally. And we can't forget, we brought the entire families together at the end on the 3rd workshop. We pretty much had a potluck where everyone was able to share all the foods that they talked about throughout these last 2 weeks. And we got to experience it firsthand. So it was pretty amazing.
And this will come up in a bit when we start cooking, because it's a really central thing to the story of the meatballs that we're going to cook today. But one of the coolest things that I saw when I was a part of this, so our Sandpoint community is a really diverse community, and that is reflected in the youth group that we were with. And I remember, like, I don't know how the spice even came up, but the bear spice came up, and like immediately you saw like a group of kids who were just like, what? Because I think a lot of times, especially like coming from someone who's as accomplished and as, you know, like affluent as you, like in the cooking industry, it's really cool to see a bit of their own stories and their experiences and cultures reflected. And I think like that was an immediate
you saw them perk up a
connection.
little bit and sit up strong. And like,
and
did
they
he
were
say
like,
what?
oh, like,
I know that.
Yeah, like my mom, I don't know what it is, but because you were like, oh, what is Bear Bear? And everyone was like, I don't know. But they knew that at home, they saw their parents cooking with it all the time. It was something that was familiar. So that is a central ingredient to the recipes that we're gonna make today. And Whole Foods has so generously donated some spices to supply the cooking show, but as well to send home to folks who are making donations today. So the Bear Bear spice is one of the things that Whole Foods has graced upon us as our presenting sponsor this year, as well as supporting all the work that Chef has been doing with our Sandpoint community. And we are just so grateful to Whole Foods as our presenting sponsor this year. They really just made this collaboration possible.
Yeah, totally.
So,
thank you, Whole Foods.
Yeah, thank you, Whole Foods. So we're super excited to dive into the cooking. And one really cool thing to share with you all, this entire experience that Chef is talking about and that Chef will be cooking from has been captured in a one-of-a-kind cookbook that you all have the chance to receive. So for folks who make a donation of $200 or more, we'll send you a copy of this one-of-a-kind cookbook. It has the recipes from not only Chef himself, but some recipes like taco pizza and like some wild recipes from our youth themselves and from our Sandpoint staff. So it's definitely something that you want to check out, you don't want to miss. Have you had your recipes in a book before?
This is the first cookbook
that
I'm actually
You heard
in.
it here first, guys.
Exclusive. Get it now.
Exclusive recipes from Chef captured for the first time on this cookbook. It's a beautiful piece of storytelling, too, of our community and the experiences that Chef had with our youth. So you definitely don't want to miss this out. You can text 50155 and text the word recipe to make a donation, or click on the Donate Now button to get one of these yourself. You definitely don't want to miss it. So, and if you're just joining us, you have really good timing because we're about to get into some really awesome cooking. So I'm going to send Chef away to the cooking station over there, and he's going to show us live how he makes the Bear Bear meatballs that are featured in this cookbook, and that our youth got to cook with him and share a meal together with their families. So, Chef, can you share a little bit more about the meatballs? Like, why meatballs?
Why meatballs? Yeah. Well, I think meatballs, this is one of the recipes that we actually have at Solari Restaurant, my first restaurant. And we put it on the kids menu. We figured like most kids are like meatballs. You see in most restaurants like spaghetti and meatball for kids. But this one's spiced up a little bit more, and the Bear Bear spice is definitely what brings it up to another notch. And so we had this on the kids menu, and we were like, kids were ordering these 3 times in a row, and we were like, what's going on? Why are these kids eating so many meatballs? But we realized that the parents were eating some of these meatballs themselves because they sampled them as the kids ordered them, and they realized these were really good. So these became like a staple on our menu. We moved it from the kids menu to the regular menu. So these became like one of our house items. When they say signature dishes, like this is one of our signatures. So you guys get to have this beautiful recipe. You get to go to Whole Foods and get the Bear Bear spice now, and you can actually replicate Solari's meatball at home. But the reason I chose meatballs is because I think meatballs is kind of like that universal language. Wherever you go in the world, there's a meatball of sorts, some type of meat patty rolled into a ball, fried, baked, broiled, whatever the case is, from fish balls in Asia to like your classic veal, beef, and pork meatballs in Italy to our Americanized meatballs, to finding meatballs in Germany, braised in beer and things of that nature. So
actually, there was one cool, on the first day of the workshop, you I think on a big whiteboard, put all the names of meatballs from around the world.
From around the world,
yeah,
exactly.
And there was one that I saw. So I'm a Chinese American, first generation here. All my family, besides my nuclear family, live in China, and so my grandpa's favorite food is it's like the
lion's
lion's
head,
head
yeah.
meatball, which was on the board. And like even I, as like an adult, was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's
see that
everywhere.
connection.
There's some type of ground meat rolled into a ball
Yeah.
somewhere around the world. And so I felt it would be
Yeah.
universal for
Cool.
the diversity that is at Sandpoint.
Yeah.
And so I figured the kids would perk up a little bit if we said we're gonna make meatballs. But the reality was like a lot of kids were like, I don't like meatballs.
Oh my gosh, the moment when you were like, there's onions in it.
Yeah, like I
and some of the
started
kids
talking
were
about
like,
the ingredients. They're like, oh,
No,
onions?
no. Yeah.
Herbs? No. Spices? And so that's the thing, like food kind of for me is an opportunity to, learn about each other, gain appreciation, and try something different. And so I was there to open up these kids' minds, and we did it through meatballs.
Yeah,
and so,
love it, love it.
one of the amazing things that we did, let's talk about this cookbook really quick too.
Yeah.
Again, we made an amazing cookbook. This is a 3-part series where we talked to the kids about like things that they like, they don't like. We created this list. We created a menu off of this list. So the second week we came together and like started putting the broccoli together, make a broccoli salad. We talked about pizza and talked about tacos. Like how can we combine those two together to make something that they actually like? So those recipes that we created are actually in this book. And some of these recipes that you'll find in the book come directly from the kids and their family. So pretty amazing book. So make sure you go out and support, please. And you'll find the exact recipe for the meatballs here too in the book. So we're gonna start this process. You ready for me?
Yeah, show us how to do this.
So we're gonna start with 5 pounds of ground meat. This is beef, kept it pretty neutral for the kids. We have milk, we have our bear spice, we have 4 eggs whole, we have some salt, we have parsley. We use soy, it's optional. Some people are allergic to gluten and things of that nature, so optional. Some shallots, you can use onions if you don't have access to shallots, some tarragon, and then Parmesan cheese. I use the Parmesan cheese and the soy to kind of bring that salt level just up a little bit without adding much more salt. It's kind of that umami. And so those are kind of like our impact extra to this meatball. So I'm gonna start with salt. I'm just gonna sprinkle, and this is all weighed out. And it looks like a lot, but it's an actual recipe, I promise. Okay. So from there, I'm gonna get a little cleaning.
And Chef too, like this is something I know. So one of the parts of Solid Ground's work is around food security and hunger and nutrition with low-income families. And our team at Solid Ground does a lot of cooking classes for folks who are on low income, and you can keep going.
So we're going to work with the shallots too. We're working on our claw, which we taught the kids, and you'll see in the video they learned the claw, and a lot of them are practicing at home now.
Yeah, and that's one thing that both the claw and I was going to say, like it doesn't look like you have like a bunch of super fancy like machines, and like all you really need is
a knife, a cutting board,
and like a heat
ingredients.
source.
Yeah, exactly.
And like cooking, I think at any level can be accessible to folks.
Yeah, it is. It's our universal language. Like it's one of the necessities in life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's important that we actually spend the time to cook with our kids. I have a 6-year-old now, almost at 5. He just turned 6. And I try to take the time to teach him about food to the best of my ability by just experiencing it, getting in the kitchen, hanging out, tasting different things.
Yeah.
And so it becomes fun. So I'm just gonna finely chop this, the shallots, and you can take it to whatever degree you want to. And I tell people all the time, like I'm just gonna give you a recipe. It's a template. It's a foundation, and then you can manipulate it to your liking. You can take some of these ingredients out. You can add some other things in. Once you do it for the first time, now you can change it. And we talked about that with the kids also. Like we made a broccoli salad. And we all had the same recipe as a foundation. And I said, put as much or as little of these ingredients into this salad as you desire. And so each group, we had like 5 different groups, all had the same salad, but done at different levels. And so it was pretty cool for them to taste through all of their salads. And I'm adding the milk now.
Yeah, and folks, the broccoli salad is, so there's the bear meatballs that are in this recipe book from Chef.
The soy.
The broccoli salad as well as in here. And it sounds like it's a collaborative, that recipe was a collaborative recipe with youth. So definitely want to check that out. You might see on your screens a photo
I'm adding
of
in the
broccoli
bear
salad.
now. So this is an all-in-one recipe, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like once you get all your, we call this all your mise en place in the restaurant world. Everything's in place. Once everything is in place, it's pretty much a dump and mix.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of work through everything. We'll do the Parmesan last. I'm adding in the eggs, and then I'm gonna chop the herbs. And again, we have our parsley. And you can do it as fine as you desire, or as chunky as you desire.
And can you, I know we've been talking about the Bear spice a lot,
Yes.
but can you explain for the folks out there who is like, what is
Bear? Yes.
Yeah.
So when I opened up Solari, I wanted to have a restaurant that was unique to me and special and kind of come from the heart. You know, my life is pretty spicy, I guess I should say. You know, I come from St. Petersburg, Florida, seen a lot, done a lot, and I wanted a restaurant that really reflect me. And so we went heavy in creating different spice mixes in our foods. And Bear was one of the spice mixes that I wanted to introduce to my cuisine. And there was other spice mixes that we had. We had like Mita Mita was another one, which is an African spice mix. And so like we realized that like a lot of our spice mixes were becoming very spicy, like heat-wise. Yeah. And so Bear is a North African spice mix, specifically coming from Ethiopia. And the base is like fenugreek, cardamom, African bird's eye chili, so that's where the heat is coming from. You get some cumin in there, some coriander, and some other spices. And so there's like 7 or 8 different spices. And so when I created our Bear, I actually toned it down a little bit rather than being pretty spicy.
So not having super spicy.
Like everything became like spicy in the restaurant. And so when I did that, we were able to introduce Bear to so many different recipes in the restaurant, from the marinara that we make in the restaurant, to the meatballs, to various sausages that we serve. And it's just like became our universal spice. And so when we talked about Bear with the kids, you saw a few of the North African students, kids just perk up.
Yeah, there were a few Ethiopian youth and participants in the workshop that particularly were like, oh my gosh, I know this spice.
Did he say what I said?
Yeah.
What I think he said?
Yeah.
So I'm chopping the tarragon now, and the parsley is already in there. And then I'm gonna grate some Parmesan cheese right onto the cutting board.
And during the workshops, I mean, the kids the knives were in their hands, right?
Yes.
The graters were in their hands.
We gave them full access. We wanted this to be very interactive. And it was a demo, a learning opportunity, a teaching session. And so, it was, we wanted to give them that full exposure to like, this is how cooking is. It doesn't have to be dangerous. It doesn't have to be scary. It is fun. And so that's what we did. You know, it was a lot of fun.
And I think it had an impact too, because as you'll see if you watch the video that's going to be posted, that's capturing this experience. In the video, I remember there was a few youth who had specifically said, like, now, like after the workshops, like I try to like cook more at home and like be in the kitchen with my parents. So like I think that experience for them was, it was inspiring.
Inspiring, totally. And that's what it's all about. I remember like the first time my mom got me in the kitchen, it was like the last thing I actually wanted to do. And the second time she got me in the kitchen, my eyes kind of perked up a little bit. I started paying a little bit more attention. And it just like became something that I liked, and it was kind of part of like the normal habits. Like I'm gonna go play football outside, but before I do that, I'm gonna help mom chop bell peppers.
Look at that.
So it was fun, and that's what I wanted the kids to experience. Like cooking can be fun. It don't have to be a task or feel like a task.
Yeah.
Okay, so all my ingredients are in. I got the Parmesan cheese in.
Cool.
Gonna clean up here a little bit, and now we're gonna start mixing. If you have a mixer at home, you can easily put all of this in a mixer. I love to do it by hand. It's kind of therapeutic for me, especially during these stressful times. It's like an opportunity to kind of meditate yourself. So we're going to get in here and get all the ingredients together, making sure we mix the eggs. It doesn't look appealing, but I guarantee you it's therapeutic.
I remember, the kids were doing exactly what you were doing right now. They were like going wild.
Yeah,
There was like
eggs flying
raw
everywhere, meat flying everywhere.
And then we sanitized.
Yes, exactly. But it was great to see, the smiles and the joy on their face. They were up at 10 and 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning. That's the last thing they wanted to do, but they really showed that they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was very appreciative that they were very attentive.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you come in at the first workshop, and then after the 3 workshops and the dinner, like, did you see, what were some takeaways for you, and what kind of change, if any, did you see?
I mean,
over time?
from the first workshop, from like, they coming in like what to expect, like already arms crossed and I don't like this.
Hoods up on
I don't
Saturday.
like this. Why are you bothering me? To the fact that like, did you say brownies? Are we gonna learn how to make brownies?
Yeah.
It's not just coming from a box or pre-made. Oh, we're gonna see how to make meatballs. I've never tasted shallots before.
Yeah.
Can I taste that? Oh, this is what Terra gonna smell like. And just them opening up to the fact that this could be fun. This is an opportunity to learn about each other, and then having conversation. Like, it wasn't just about like playing around with food. We were actually having real conversation about their cuisines, their history, where they come from, what their mom and dad cooked. What was the last meal that they ate that day. And that's some of the insecurities that these kids face, that they may not know sometime where that last meal is going to come from. So it was great for us to have those kind of conversations and feel open enough to like express ourselves. So got the meatballs mixed right now. I'm gonna switch gloves.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things too, like you were saying about meatballs, is it really, at the end, it really reflected how, the folks in the room had a lot of different experiences and came from a lot of different diverse backgrounds, but are able to kind of unify and respect each other, and
through food.
All done through meatballs. Yeah, pretty wild.
All right, so I'm switching my gloves up so I can start rolling meatballs. And so, again, meatballs, it's to your liking. You can make them as big as you want, as small as you want. Meatballs can be baked in the oven. They can be fried in a pan. I need to grab one container over there, actually, to put these meatballs in. But yeah, these are fun. The brown tray, that's there. So we're pretty much, we scale these out in the restaurant to like 100 to 50 grams, depending on what the use will be. And so, you can get a scale, weigh it out, and then just pretty much start plopping meatballs down. And then from there, you can put them in a pan. I actually started some up here now. A little bit of oil down in the pan. And we're gonna pan fry these pretty much until ready. And in these here, if you don't have space on the stove, or if you want to try something different, you can broil these in the oven.
And we did at the workshops, we did oven?
We did oven in the workshop. For me, it's a little bit easier. You just, lay them all out. You turn up that oven to 450 degrees while you're rolling them all out.
Yeah.
Jam them in the oven and walk away for 10 minutes, and they're pretty much ready. We're going to add some of our marinara that we actually pre-made today due to timing. And again, we use some of the bear bear spice in our marinara. It's a pretty simple recipe. San Marzano tomatoes, or any really good tomatoes, whole. They're then mixed with onions and garlic, some of the bear spices, all kind of stewed together, and then you kind of blend it with a stick blender, or you can stick it in the blender to kind of post it around a little bit. And so this is the start to our meatball, the sizzle, the smell. You guys, can you smell that?
If you guys could smell this through the
I'm
camera.
sorry.
But you can make these at home, right?
Exactly.
Like,
the recipe's there.
Yep. These cookbooks are available to you all with gifts of $200 or more, and we'll send them to you, to your house, so that you can make these same recipes at home and try them out. And you can smell the same smells we're smelling. You'll also have the bear spice donated generously by our presenting sponsor, Whole Foods, so that you can get the same kind of spice and feel that we have here today. And you're just turning them over now?
I'm just turning them over, getting color on all sides. This is the prime time to throw them in the oven if you wanted to do them in the oven. And these are going to cook for this size here, maybe about 15 minutes on the stovetop, kind of rotating them through. In the oven, maybe about 10 minutes to fully get that color. And you can always turn it on broil to get a little bit more kind of char caramelization on the top of it. We call it the Maillard reaction for us in the kitchen world. Are we gonna turn this hood on, or are we just gonna have to smell this all day?
So, like, I think what's really cool about this too is that these are not just any meatballs, right? These particular meatballs are kind of a story and an experience informed by our own Sandpoint resident youth, and so it has the spice that they resonate with. It's a story of their culture, and so you really don't want to miss out on these meatballs, folks. You can get them in this recipe book. You can text to make a donation. You can click on the Donate Now button on the webpage so that you have Chef's exclusive recipe for his Bear meatballs. And if you don't trust us in hearing about how good that these meatballs were, you can take it from one of our program participants herself. We have a video clip of Satea, who's one of our awesome youth at Sandpoint, who is just super excited about these meatballs, and hear it from her yourself.
I think he taught me one lesson, that if we didn't like something, we had to at least eat it twice and see if you liked it, and that actually worked. I tried the meatballs twice. At first I was just like, but now I think I'm in love with meatballs.
She thinks she's in love with me. She has a love affair with meatballs. That's what's happening.
So our meatballs, they're almost there. I'm gonna add in actually some of the marinara that we talked about right into the pan. And just gonna
and that sauce
through.
Also has the Bear spice.
This does have the Bear spice, and it's also in the cookbook. So we're just gonna warm that through.
Cool.
Hear the sizzle starting up again.
And so I was there the day that we cooked the meatballs, and at the end when we were serving them, it was wild. We were all everyone was sitting down, and we had the plates out, and everyone got one round.
Yes.
But then what happened?
One round, and they came back up and said, "Can I get another round?" I'm like, "Hold on, you said you did not like meatballs."
Right.
I changed my mind now.
Yeah.
So
and we had.
That's amazing.
I remember there was one specific person who at the beginning said she didn't want her first plate. And then after she saw everyone freaking out about how good they were, she was like, "Okay, I'll take one."
Yes,
good times. So it was a huge hit with the youth for sure.
Yeah, so again, all these recipes are here. We had a great time. I'm excited that the kids were able to come back. They had a homework assignment on the weekend, and they came back with some of their favorite recipes. You'll see the egg toast in there. I think there's a sushi recipe that we came up with. Also Whole Foods and their team provided us with a few of their favorite recipes also. So thank you, Whole Foods. It was an amazing opportunity, amazing time to share my story, to hear the stories from the kids, and celebrate through food, our roots, our stories, our diversity. So
So folks, don't miss out on this cookbook. You heard it from Chef. I think it's really beautiful too. There's amazing images. There's actual drawings from the youth.
Yes.
There's a drawing of a taco pizza in here. If you've ever wondered what a taco pizza looks like, it's in here. So you can get one of these today with your donation of $200 or more. You can text recipe to 50155 or click on the Donate Now page on our webpage.
Yeah, and can I just say one last thing?
Of course.
With the hard times that we're facing right now, go out there and support all the small businesses that you can. We are all experiencing, especially the restaurant industry. We have over 2 million people laid off in America right now who works in the hospitality industry. So we're really feeling it, and so we're trying to do our part. We turned Solari Restaurant into a community kitchen this week, and hopefully we can extend it to, whenever we're able to come back to work, that we're actually giving free meals to industry folks that are displaced right now, unemployment. And those who actually in need. So we're not discriminating. If you need, we have meals from 4 to 7 p.m. We're now converting June Baby Restaurant to be a takeout restaurant. So we're doing our part. So go out and support the community, our neighborhoods, all these small businesses the best way that you can.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. If someone was interested in the Solari resource,
So you can if you want to donate, you can also donate. You can visit us at or send an email to PR@thirdpower, THIRDPOWER, and then the number 3.com. Or you can stop by the restaurant anytime. We'll be there from 7 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. Preparing meals and then serving meals out at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So, by whatever means you can. There's a lot of restaurants and different organizations that are doing amazing things right now.
Yeah.
But we're here today to celebrate and hopefully raise some money for Solid Ground too. So, do your part today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think they're really connected too. And
100%.
I think we'll talk a little bit more about, all of Solid Ground's work, but I mean, the folks that you are trying to support are the same folks that we're trying to support, right? It takes all of us, and
takes a village.
It's a tough time right now. It's an uncertain time, and I think what's the collaboration that's happening between you and Solid Ground is really beautiful, and I think that speaks to kind of how we're all in this together.
Totally.
And that it's
yeah. Hard times, but we're gonna make the best of this.
Yeah, for sure. Are we
We're ready to
eat some meals?
I think are we gonna show the video too? Or are we gonna?
We actually, Satya has already said her piece on how
very
much she
nice.
loves meatballs. So I was there on the meatball day, but I didn't actually get to eat I didn't get to try a meatball because they were just like flying off the shelves so fast with the youth.
Well, guess what? I have a meal for us.
I'm excited. Oh, and there's the setting too.
We get the proper settings.
Yeah, and so it sounds like June Baby is open for takeout.
June Baby, yes,
So-
we are doing takeout. We had to do the pivot to accommodate.
Yeah. And so if folks out there, you heard it from Chef, if you would love to support Chef's Restaurants, June Baby is open for takeout. You can order online or
Yep, we're doing
something.
online, and we're also doing over the phone. I think the online is available now. We'll be doing phone orders from, I think, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, every day?
Wednesday through Sunday. And we'll be featuring some of our favorite dishes from June Baby, Solari, and Lucinda in a 3-course meal. And we also open up our shop online for the first time. We're selling all our merchandise and things that we have in the restaurant, jams, jellies, pantry items. So, we're doing what we can to stay afloat during this hard time, and so
Yeah. So folks, please go out and support Chef Edouardo Jordan and June Baby. And you heard too, if you are someone who needs support, who has been in the restaurant industry or the hospitality industry, Solari is now a resource that's open for you all.
And we're open for anyone. If anyone needs, we have food. We're preparing up to 200 to 300 meals a day from 4 to 7 p.m. to give out. And anything extra we're going to take to the food bank to make sure that everyone's getting something.
Yeah,
So,
awesome, thank you.
Time to eat something.
Should we try it? Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
We're
You get to make this at home. We get to experience it now. Are we going to eat it here?
I'm gonna do my diligence and take a bite
Yes.
because obviously I don't think I've ever eaten on camera before. Oh man,
That works.
the bear spice is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're
Guys,
going to enjoy it.
you have got to try these meatballs. Now that everyone's staying at home, you have more time to cook. It's the perfect time to grab one of these cookbooks. Chef Jordan's recipes of these meatballs, the recipes from our Sandpoint youth, recipes from our Sandpoint staff are all in this cookbook, and it's a beautiful account of the collaboration between us and Solid Ground. And so with your donation today, you can receive one of these cookbooks. And we also have, so the cookbooks are one of the thank you gifts, but there's also a bunch of other stuff. So with your gift, and there should be like a giving thank you gift page that will come up, but with your gift today of $75 or more, you will get this recipe for the meatballs as well as the bear spice. For folks who are donating $100 or $200 or more, you will get the beautiful cookbooks along with the recipes. And for folks who are donating at the $500 level plus today, we have an amazing opportunity for you all. So we have a matching fund from the Coho team of Windermere Agents. They are so awesome, and they're great partners and have put up a match for any gift of $500 or more. So that means your impact today will be doubled because you'll be able to access these matching funds. And so you will not only receive the cookbook and the Bear Bear Spice, but you'll get this awesome Solid Ground goodie bag with some of our own stickers and tote bags and notebooks that you can show off as a Solid Ground supporter. So check out these amazing giving incentives. If you're tuning in on the webpage, they're probably on the bottom of the website, so you could scroll down and see the different thank you gifts that you can receive with your gift today. And it's really easy to donate, y'all. Just text recipe to 50155. Or if you are not a texter, you can also just click on the good old Donate Now button on the webpage. So, Chef, thank you so much for sharing this recipe with us and the world and with our youth especially. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. Thank you for cooking with us today. And I know we've been chatting a lot about Solid Ground's Sandpoint housing community, but our impact at Solid Ground goes far beyond providing housing for almost 1,000 people across the city. We at Solid Ground do everything from providing transportation for folks who need rides to get to appointments or to connect to their loved ones. We help improve food security and nutrition for folks who are living on low incomes. And we advocate for renters whose rights have been violated. We offer a wide range of 20 plus different programs that provide a lot of diverse support for folks out there, because we know from the participants that we're serving, and we hear from them, that poverty does not exist in silos, right? Our approach to solving poverty should be comprehensive and holistic and reflect that. So unfortunately, the reality is these days, a family could be experiencing domestic violence and will likely experience housing insecurity or experience transportation barriers or experience food insecurity. They're all interconnected. And that's why Solid Ground's work is so important, because it tackles the issue of families trying to get help in experiencing compounding challenges by providing holistic support. And folks, the luncheon that we've adapted this year to this virtual event and kickoff to Giving Week, it's our largest fundraiser. It raises critical funds to support all of the work that we do and all the holistic approach we take to tackling poverty in the region. So it's a really important time for us to come together. We're asking you, the community, to come together during these trying times. And especially individual donations from you all are so incredibly valuable to us because they're flexible. They provide flexible funding for any gaps in funding that we have. And so I know that this is a scary time for all of us. And at Solid Ground, we're working really hard to make sure that those who are most vulnerable during these times are able to receive the support and safety net that they need. So we need your help to do that. I hope that you'll consider supporting our work and our efforts here. You can text now to donate or click on the Donate Now button. I've been watching a lot of social media these days about folks around the world coming together, and there's all these really beautiful moments happening where people are coming together and helping each other. So here's one way for you to help our communities right now here in Seattle. All you have to do is text to donate or click on the Donate Now button. And I hope you'll consider making a meaningful gift to you, to Solid Ground today. And as we chatted about, there's a lot of awesome thank you gifts that you'll receive for your gift today, including the cookbook that Chef and us at Solid Ground put together, including the goodie bags, and including the spices from Whole Foods. And we really are just so grateful for your support. And you'll be able to receive these gifts today with your donation. And one really awesome thing that you can still be a part of right here without a donation is we have a live drawing of registered guests today. So anyone who's registered for this event has been entered into this live drawing. we have names in here of folks who have registered, and I would love for Chef to join me in helping with this live drawing, because the folks who have registered have a chance to win a $200 voucher to one of Chef's amazing restaurants here.
Yes.
And we'll send that to you as soon as we pick the lucky registered guest. And I'll let you do the honors here.
Alrighty.
And you can read out the name for us.
Okay, it's Amber Zeddies.
Nice, Amber Zeddies. Amber Zeddies will be sent a $200 voucher to Chef's restaurant, June Baby.
Yes.
And it's never been a better time to support these restaurants like this. So Amber will be sending you the live drawing details soon, so hang on tight for those. Before we start wrapping it up, I wanted to give a huge shout out to a couple of folks who couldn't actually join us. So some of you might have been looking forward to a Grammy Award-winning musician coming to perform for us. We are so lucky and grateful to have Wands, who is a Grammy Award-winning artist, and you might hear him singing around the sound at sports games. You might recognize him from the thrift shop video singing about popping tags and saving dollars. And he is an amazing volunteer and longtime supporter of Solid Ground. And we were bummed that he couldn't come today, but given everything that's happening, we're still so grateful for his support. And of course, we have a group of folks that we need to thank who we just could not do this event without them, and that is our event supporters and sponsors. What's really awesome is that each and every single sponsor that sponsored our traditional luncheon has adapted with us as we changed into this virtual event and kickoff, which is huge because we could not do what we did without them. So a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Whole Foods Market, our change maker sponsors, the Coho team of One Year More Agents, who have so graciously and awesomely put up this matching fund for donations of $500 or more, Microsoft, Sprague Israel Giles Insurance, and to our amplifying sponsors and event supporters, we have Swedish, DCG1, Arcora Foundation, Virginia Mason, and United Way of King County. And of course, we're so incredibly grateful to the rest of our amazing sponsors at the community builder and voice raiser levels. You know, we really couldn't do this without you all, and you enabled us to do something creative like this event and continue to work with this awesome guy. So thank you so much to our sponsors. And lastly, thank you, viewers. You all fuel this work. You all support things like the youth enrichment programs that we do at Sandpoint, like the cooking classes that we do around the city, like the rental assistance that we're able to provide people when they're at risk of eviction, which is especially important during these times. So thank you all so much for being a part of Solid Ground's community. This was a kickoff event to a whole week of cool stuff that's about to happen. There's going to be some story sharing, and like I mentioned, the video that you saw a little bit of today that captures this entire experience that you worked with our youth with is going to be on the same webpage you're tuning in from now. So after this live stream is over, you can check out that video on the same page. And if you tuned in late, no worries, because this entire thing was recorded, so it'll live forever on the internet. So you can go back to the same webpage and watch the entire live stream later. And please, please help us get the word out. So share this link with your friends, with your family, with your network that might resonate with Solid Ground's work. And obviously, huge shout out and thanks to Chef Edouardo Jordan here for joining us for today, but for all the incredible work that he's been doing with our Sandpoint housing community and just like being awesome, like getting the word out. And I know especially during these times, there's a lot going on. So we really appreciate you being here.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing thoughts for folks?
No, I mean, it was an honor. Go out and support. This is a big cause, a great cause. There's so much is happening right now, and this is actually the time that we actually need everyone to step up and support. So do what you can, $1, $2, $200, $300, $500, do what you can. Yeah. We need your support. Thank you, guys. Yeah,
awesome. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. from everyone at Solid Ground who couldn't be here today, I know the luncheon is usually a great time to gather and see everyone and connect with people that you get to connect with once a year. We're all saying thank you from afar. And I hope everyone out there stays safe and sane and takes care of each other, takes care of themselves and each other.
Totally.
Thank you all so much for joining. It's been an awesome time.
Thank you.